You are on the journey of business. An entrepreneur and innovator who spent a lifetime of advising from behind the scenes, building businesses through word of mouth and referrals. Now Mike Wolf is ready to share these strategies and business outlook with you. You're here. You're ready for the journey of business with Mike Wolf.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the journey of business. I am Mike Wolf. Today, we are going to tackle a few things like facing your doubts and your fears, talking a little bit about who you are and how you're defined in your industry and, in your friend group, even like just talking about, how people see you and what that looks like. And then, maybe a few ways to get back on the right track. As we all battle those seasons where sometimes we just need a fresh breath. And so honored to be here today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let's get started. So a lot of people ask me about fears and doubts. I have a lot of young people who listen to the show, teenagers especially, who are looking to, start their own thing, their own business, and they want to forge their own path. But, stepping out, being scared, which is totally natural for an entrepreneur to be scared. The risk doesn't scare you. It's everything else. It's the judgment. It's the perception. It is all of those things that, will hold you back from, maybe even taking steps that, you probably should take. So, I really want to jump into that. I just view doubt as such a strange thing. It really comes down to succeeding or failing every single day. It's like Groundhog Day. Honestly, I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, Groundhog Day, with Bill Murray. It's like every day he wakes up, it is a literal new day, and the same thing happens every single day. I look at business like that. You almost start with a clean slate every single day. And, each day is a new day. You win or lose. You start your journey that day brand new, afresh. It's getting up after losing the day before, putting one foot in front of the other, pushing through that doubt, that fear of the previous day. You almost have to have this kind of like amnesia, this short-term memory loss of yesterday doesn't matter. Like, let's walk into today. Even if you win yesterday, doesn't guarantee you a win today. Doubt and the fear of failing again and again and again. If you do lose like that, don't let it define you. Let it shape you. I think shaping you is the most important thing. It shows you what you need to do better. It exposes the cracks in your business, and, it allows you to focus on repairing and moving forward, which is super important, obviously. Wasting your time, going back and forth, winding, you're going to fail or not. If you wonder that way, it's just pointless to look at it that way. You can only control what you can control. So, when people ask me about that, that's the first and foremost thing that I say. What can you control? Can you control getting better? Can you control putting in the work? Can you control making one extra call to a customer each single day to make sure that your business is secure? I think those are the things that are really important, having that personal touch, doing those things like that. So, doubt is a really interesting thing. Facing your fears is just really cool because you choose to see it differently. When you're not looking at the fear, you're living in the fear and believing that that's the problem. I said, but when you witness the fear and look at it differently, you start living in the solution. It's such a cool thing to really look at that way. There's no judgment if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing and you're putting out the time and the effort and the energy and you do what you're supposed to do. It really gives you an opportunity to not only not beat yourself up, but celebrate yourself. If you're self-aware enough to go out there and do what you're supposed to be doing, it's on you at the end of the day. Like, who cares what other people think? So you have to do what it takes to heal the fear and identify the problem. If fear and doubt are something that you're facing, and I know a lot of you are, I know because I hear a lot of it and I hear a lot of questions in the emails and the conversations and the people that I hear, ask these questions every single day. How do I face this? How do I battle this? I'm struggling with this. The economy is this. The inflation is this. I'm having a hard time obtaining this. Let's take one day at a time. That's the most important thing. Take small steps, small bites, and, let's conquer it together. You have support in people that you might not even know that you have support from. So utilize the networks that you have and work together. I think that's kind of just really the more important way of looking at that is, trying to conquer it together is a lot easier than rolling solo. I mean, I say this all the time. And a little bit about kind of where that goes from there. I talked about kind of defining who you are. These are the kind of moments where you define who you are. It's just very simple, I mean, people, you care what people think. It's natural to care what people think. But when it comes to business, everybody hates. It is what it is. So, don't look at it as any other way, but, the way you want to be defined. Maybe you want to be defined as, the best of the best. Maybe you want to be defined as a good business guy and a Christ follower that does good business and good business only. It just depends on how you want to be perceived, and how are you defined? Where do you belong? These are all questions that I think about a lot. Do you belong everywhere you go? I don't know. Do you? I don't feel like I belong everywhere I go, but I think that's a me problem. I don't think that's an actual issue. No matter where it is or who you're with, are you different? Are you the same person either way? Do you betray yourself to fit in? A lot of people want to fit in. A lot of people will bend their ethics, their morals to become something that they're not, to fit in. And I think that sucks, but that is part of the game, and sometimes you have to do business with people that you normally wouldn't, especially when you start your new business. I mean, as you kind of grow in your business, a lot of that stuff falls away. So that's kind of a good thing. The cost is high, but the reward is great. If you're true to yourself, it's just such a feeling that I can't even explain to you, to be honest. You almost have to walk it out, but you're going to have a lot of hate if you stick to your ground and your morals and your ethics and these things, that you really truly believe in at the end of the day. A lot of the people, you'll lose business over it. I have, and it is what it is. I have to be really careful about the kind of people I want to do business with. It's just the way I'm built. The minute you become who they want you to be, to fit in and to be liked, is truly the moment you don't belong anywhere. If you look at it like that, it'll change your whole life. It'll change your whole perspective. And that goes from people who are in high school right now, to college, to a new job, to a business owner, whatever that is. If you own your own business or you work for someone else, trying to become someone you're not is just not it. I think the days of when I was younger, people stuck and had maybe 2 or 3 jobs their entire life. That has changed a tremendous amount now. People encourage you to test drive things. When I was growing up, it was like you have to go to college to be successful. That's just not the case now. I mean, you can do so many other things. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Don't send me the hate mail. I'm not saying college is good or bad. What I'm saying is that a lot of people are being highly successful out of the gate, graduating high school, putting in some work on a vocational side, doing different things like that. I know a lot of kids that are welding and HVAC and refrigeration and auto body and stuff like that are really changing the game for themselves just simply based on that. So it's really cool to kind of see from a distance, so I really would just focus on, remembering who you are, because, the way that we're really programmed from an early age is to be fearful. It really is, of losing and doubtful, and you're not good enough, or your grades aren't good enough, or, your sibling is better than you at this or that. And it knocks you down a peg, which is not great. I try to be hyper conscious with 2 kids that I have, that they're great in their own way and whatever it is they want to do, and they can dominate at that. So I think, a lot of perception from parents and conversations with parents that I have, and it's kind of like, hey, so-and-so's wild. And I'm like, yeah, but they're great, and I think a lot of it is perspective. And I think being a parent is tough, obviously, these days. Access to a lot of things that they shouldn't have. It is what it is. So, just like I said, focus on who you are, how you want to be defined. And at the end of the day, it really just comes down to being, honestly, where you want to fit in and how you want to fit in that mold. So, for me, I wanted to kind of just maybe spend the last 5 minutes, kind of discussing a few ways to get back on track, focusing on your health. I mean, this is something I've battled in the last, let's call it 6 months, of just trying to just focus on being better, whether that's mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, really just trying to rebuild from the ground up, because I found myself burning out. And I don't know if anyone else battles that, but I know people who do. I really think it doesn't matter. And I mean, if you're burning out in school, if you're burning out in sports, if you're burning out in anything, your job, if you're unhappy, what I've found from the last 6 months of really putting in a significant amount of work is that if you're unhappy, your body will shut down. And if you are stressed out, it will really wreak havoc on your body. And so, I've had to learn and almost retrain my body for the last few months of what's next. You get tough doctor reports, you get these results back, and you're like, man, this isn't great. So like, how do you do better? And I think that, getting yourself back on track is such a huge thing. If you're young, especially, is, surrounding yourself with the right people that are just really, truly follow your vision, and you guys kind of share a vision of life and God, maybe, or whatever it is. You want to be in alignment with people who are going the right direction. I think that's a big thing. I have battled that in the past. I don't really battle it too much now. I'm pretty blessed to have some great friends and in a good support system, in my family and so on and so forth. But, when you're walking in a tough road and a tough season, that's really an important thing to be a part of, is having the right people around you that are going to walk you in those tough seasons and just walk alongside you, push you when you need it, hold back when you don't. Really important on that. What the other thing I've learned is structure. Structure is, super, super important. Little things, just as little as like waking up and making the bed. I'm not saying I do that every day before my wife tries to hit me in the comments, but like, start your day, put your feet on the ground. Some people struggle just even getting out of bed. Put one foot in front of the other. Start with small steps. Do what it takes. Meditate, pray in the morning, maybe go to the gym in the morning, maybe go walk around the neighborhood in the morning, maybe in the evening, whatever your comfort level is that's going to kind of take you outside of that box, that's going to help you escape whatever it is you're battling. It's really important, and I can't reiterate it enough, how important that is. I recently was listening to some different podcasts on some things like that, and choosing to be happy is a thing. It is a serious, serious thing. What happens if you just chose to be happy? It's a thing, right? Like, you understand that, like, the power of your happiness really lies with you. Circumstances are different, but happiness, it lies with you at the end of the day. Are you happy where you're at with what you've become, what you've overcome? Whatever that is, whatever that was that was holding you back, and you've overcome it. You're still here. So look at it that way, as a purpose-driven scenario. I heard this person say, choose to be grateful now. Did you know that 150,000 people will die today? And every single one of those people would give anything to have your problems today. So, choose gratitude, choose being grateful, thankful, for where you are, no matter what, because you're still here. You're not done. It gives you the opportunity to look at that perspective of going, is this where I'm supposed to be? Because I think we all have those moments where you're like, is this really all that I have? Is this really all that God has for me? I feel like I'm so destined to be more and more and more. But, like, if you just shift the perspective on just being happy where you are today, it'll change everything for you. And I think a lot of it too, we all grow up in weird circumstances. Everybody has a story. Healing is part of the journey. This is the Journey of Business podcast. I say this a lot. This is not just about business. This is about life. This is about family. This is about gratitude. This is about so many other things than just business. And the journey of your healing, of you getting better, of you being thankful, of seeking the support that you need to help yourself in that process is just more than I can even explain to you important. Loving yourself right where you are at is just key. It's so big. Don't be a victim of your circumstances. Be a survivor. If you show up for yourself every single day, even when you mess up every single day, we all mess up. We all fall short. You're still showing up every day. Small steps, man. Like, I'm telling you, I can't even explain to you how important I think maybe this podcast might be to someone. And I hope you hear it with the right heart, because it's not a perfect journey. No one's perfect. We all fall short. Have fun with your day. Small steps. I promise you, if you take them, it works, because it's worked for me. You know, I've had to just reset and rebuild and put business on the back burner while I sit here and get better. And even jumping back in after taking a few months off of the podcast has been tough for me to sit here and talk about these things, because I hope that this resonates with someone. I hope somebody sees this and understands the importance of what I'm talking about. Because, I mean, I talk to so many people and they're all battling something. We're all battling something, and it's hard. And I want you to hear my heart when I say this. You're not alone. This is not an easy journey. The journey of business is great. The journey of life is hard. It's just what it is. So, you know, I hope this hit you all at the right places today. I'm telling you, you know, we're all battling something. I hope that this finds you and helps you, because that's, you know, I really honestly prayed a lot about this podcast. And I want you to hear my heart when I tell you that you're good enough. You know, you're there where you are in that season for a reason. And no, I'm not trying to rhyme and be cute. Like, I'm being for real. Like, it's very important that you understand that your journey is your journey, but it's unique to you. But that doesn't mean that everyone's not battling something. I just want y'all to be, you know, hearing that with the right heart today. You know, I thank you so much for listening to the show. I hope you have a great rest of your day. You know, if you're loving the show, please go over to Apple and Spotify. Follow us on there. Give us a 5-star review. You know, the more reviews, the more attention the podcast gets. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate the support. It really is important to me. So it would mean the world if you'd go over and do that. Again, you know, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week on The Journey of Business.
To continue your journey of business, subscribe to the show wherever you find podcasts or at YouTube. And for more information on consulting inquiries, go to www.tradelinkSales.com.